going to be start an empire. It is the first empire in India. He unifies the northern part of India, and the Persians are still there because Alexander leaves and he leaves a general in charge. So he has to defeat this general. This is the general that Alexander left. And of course, it was not near as strong as when Alexander had his entire army there. So he defeats Seleucus, and then he organizes. He's still, like, this is a historic stamp, and he's still a really important heroic figure in Indian history because he does create their first empire. And basically kind of like the modern day state of India, because India today is more like a unified province kind of thing instead of a bunch of city-states. His organization is provinces and districts for tax collection and law enforcement. Now, he does this in 321 BC. 20 years later, 301, he freaks out. Here's why he freaks out. He is actually kind of like an ancient Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was so worried about being overthrown, he had food tasters everywhere he went because he was afraid that people would poison him. And he would sleep in different rooms. So say this is technically his bedroom, well, he would not ever sleep in the same place in one of his palaces in the same, he did not keep the same routine because he was so worried about assassination. Chandragupta is also like this. So in 301, he's so freaked out that he's going to be assassinated, he gives up his throne. And he becomes a Jain. And this is a little known religion, but I have, I'm not going to that link. He, like Persia and China, he builds a bureaucratic administrative system. He has domestic policies, including a network of spies, secret police. The Nazis did this. Stalin's Russia and modern Russia has secret police. We have the CIA and other little black operations that we don't talk about. So the legend is he retires to become a monk. And when he becomes a monk, he starts fasting, and then he starves himself actually to death because he becomes so obsessed with being a monk.
Would the NSA be considered like a secret police since they monitor?
No, because we know about them.
Or
A secret police would be a police that has a name that we don't even know the name.
How many police do you think there are?
13. 13.
Are there actually, or do you just come up with a number?
Well, I think it's a good number.
If they're secret.
Here's what Jainism is. Jainism started in 540 to 468 BCE. And what you did is you abandoned a privileged life. So an emperor abandons privileged life to lead an ascetic life. Ascetic means not talking, minimal food, no possessions, or no possessions that you don't need. So you have, a blanket to keep warm, and you might have something to put underneath your pillow. You're going to eat really simple food. You probably don't own your own food bowl. You have communal bowls, and like I use the bowl, and then I wash the bowl, and then I give it to you. And we don't have a lot of possessions. A lot of them wandered, and were dependent on the good of, they'd come to you and they'd want alms, and you would, give them some rice, or you would give them something, and then they would, they'd had concern for all beings and selfless living, and they wouldn't take a lot from the society. And I know this sounds contrary because you are depending on other people to feed you, but they might weed your garden or something like that in order for you to feed them. They had a really hard time moving around the world because concern for all beings means you're not stepping on things. They rejected the caste system and the jati distinctions, the jobs that are in the caste. Really, really popular with underprivileged groups. Like if you in the caste system are an untouchable, you might convert to Jainism because you have a much better life, a daily life as a Jain. There are 2 million Jainist Indians today. And I put ahimsa in all capital letters. Ahimsa is the Indian concept of nonviolence, and you know this from Mahatma Gandhi. In order for India to get their independence from Great Britain, he practiced ahimsa. And you know this from Martin Luther King Jr. He practiced ahimsa. And this comes from Jainism in India. So, rumor, Chandragupta leaves the emperorship, becomes a Jain, starves to death because he doesn't eat enough, and then because this is 321 BCE, there's a little bit of lapse. His son, of course, is not a strong ruler. So, and what I mean by lapse is it's still the Mauryan Empire, it's still Mauryan rulers, but his son is not a strong ruler. So, what happens during those time periods? Remember when China, Warring States period, people tried to take power? Then,
I have a question quick.
yep,
What's ahimsa again?
non-violence. Indian concept of non-violence. And it means non-violence towards everything. So, you know, it's hard to cut your lawn because you're going to be hurting grass.
So like if someone's violent to them, can they act violent back?
No. And I don't know why you'd be violent to non-violent people. Like, Kristen's just sitting here, I don't want to just whack her with something. She's not even provoking. So, Ashoka, which is also spelled A-S-O-K-A, but I picked this one because it makes you pronounce it right. But remember what I said about the video not pronouncing it right. Drives me crazy. This is his grandson. This is Chandragupta's grandson. He is the most important ruler of the Mauryan period. Here's his head on a coin. We are going to watch a video tomorrow of his elephant army because he has an amazing elephant army. The most amazing one, maybe even better than Hannibal's. He is rumored to have 9,000 elephants, and his army has 700,000 people in it. He has almost 750,000 people in his army and 9,000 elephants. His rule is strict. He actually will convert. He has a similar experience to Alexander, but Alexander doesn't change religions after confronting the Indians. But Ashoka gets in a battle of Kalinga, which is what the elephant army is for. And that is in, let me see what my notes say. I can't find it at the moment. So he gets in the battle of Kalinga, and it's so devastating to him. There are so many people that are killed in that particular battle, and he sees the battlefield strewn with the corpses of elephants and horses and men, and he decides to become a Buddhist and non-violent for the rest of his rule. So because he does that, he becomes religiously tolerant towards the other religions that are in India at the time period, which would have been Jainism and also Hinduism. He patronized Buddhism, and what you're going to see is that he built monuments that still exist to India of the day. Remember the obelisks from Rome? Well, he builds stupas and other towers, pillars they call them, and what's the other thing he built? I have them on a later slide. But he represents the high point of the Mauryan Empire. He expanded the empire to include all of the Indian subcontinent, except for the very, very south. He is better known as a governor than a conqueror, because as soon as he converts to Buddhism, he's an extremely tolerant leader. We'll start